Hey, welcome back, guys. All right, today we're going to be putting the water pump on, and we have our water pump here and our housing, and we already have this put together. There's a gasket between the pump and the housing, and I put a little bit of the aviation Permatex on there. You can assemble these dry just with the gasket, but I put that on there just as a little extra insurance. Again, just a real thin wash coat on there. The water pump acts as an idler for the timing chain. So in the earlier models, there was a idler gear in here, and the water pump plugged into the back, and the timing chain drove the water pump. This one here, it's all one unit, which makes it a lot easier to work on, or a lot easier to assemble. But it's a real bear to work on. So if you have to replace this, you have to remove the exhaust manifold, the front engine mount, the timing chain cover, the damper. You have to put the motor in time, pull the tensioner off, and pull the timing chain off, and then you can access this and pull this out and put the new one in, and then you reassemble everything. It's a real headache, a lot of work. But I actually did it on 2 streetcars, and it was a real nightmare. So a lot of work, a lot of busted knuckles. But these motors are a labor of love, that's for sure. So this is our gasket. It's a silicone-based gasket. It's got a little flange there. That flange goes against the timing chain housing. And this is made so that it will only fit on one way. So we'll see if we can get it right. That's not it. Rotate it. And second try. All right, so we use our flange. Flange goes in. All right, now from here we have a gasket here, and I already pre-coated the gasket with some sealant. So we're going to slide that in a little bit. But first we want to just slide the pump into place. I'll slide that in. You can see how the bolt holes aren't lined up yet. So we're going to get our nuts started on here. And originally I thought, I would just bolt this on, tell you, hey, I put the water pump on it, but there might be some information it might be helpful to somebody, so we're including this. So put that third nut on there, and this is it's not too bad once you get everything out of the way. It's not too bad to reach when it's on the car. I've actually done a couple of these, and with them on the car. There we go. Make sure it's in all the way, and it kind of self-centers itself and everything. So what we want to do actually we want to leave that just a little bit loose. I want that just to wiggle a little bit. And the reason is I want to be able to put my gasket in there. And you have to pay attention before you assemble this, which direction the gasket goes. That way, this way, upside down, that way. Okay, but it goes this way. So what we're going to do is very carefully slide this in behind the pump, like so. And as I tighten this up, I'm going to make sure that doesn't sag. Okay. And that's another one of the reasons why I like to put a little bit of sealant on there, because it makes it sticky. It makes it so it kind of stays in there just a little bit better. So I'm going to tighten this up. Just 3 13mm nuts, and we're just going to get this just snug, not really tightened down all the way just yet. Because as I tighten this down, it's going to pull that housing up against the block a little bit. Production tolerances are pretty tight on this, so we don't want to go crazy with it, because I want to be able to peek in here. I want to look back here, make sure my gasket isn't sagged. I'm looking down inside there to make sure the gasket is in line, and I think we're good to go. All right, so from here, since the gasket's in place, you can see the bolt holes. Just going to get that started there. Sometimes these won't start because the pump housing isn't pulled in all the way, but that's okay. Once I get that started and I know that gasket isn't going to go anywhere, then I can go ahead and tighten up the pump housing, or the pump rather. And you don't have to go crazy on these. Nothing crazy. I'm sure there's a torque spec for this, but we're going to just snug them up nice. You don't have to go nuts with it. It's studded, it'll take the torque, but there we go. Okay. And then tighten our water pump housing to block bolts. And just peeking in here just to make sure that gasket, I can see it right there. If I can't see it, it might have slipped down, and I could reach down in there with a little flat screwdriver and pull it up into position possibly. If I can't slide it into position, all I have to do is just loosen up these nuts. That'll loosen it up a little bit where I can move that gasket, but we're in good shape. And these bolt holes, they're blind, so they don't go into the water jacket. So you don't have to put any sealant on them or anything like that. And I'm not sure if all of them are like that, like all the different years, but I know this particular block is like that. So you want to check. How you check that is just put a screwdriver through, reach in and feel with your finger. If you can feel the screwdriver, you know it goes into the water jacket. You have to put some sealant in there. And again, I'm sure there's a torque spec for this, but we're just going to use the German method, good and tight. Okay. There we go. Double check. Make sure we're okay. And we are. We're good. And that's how you install a water pump on the Oldsmobile based quad 4 motor. Thanks for watching, guys. You know what to do.